Kurdna, Jerdna, Miranda, Nerdanda, Mnananda, Miranda, Miranda, wake up! A dreamlike morning, a dreamlike day. Miranda, sweetie, get up! We're going to be late! I awoke, still wrapped up in my bed, my head lying on a soft, soothing pillow, and a white haze surrounding each of the corners of my vision. My eyes opened. The bright sunlight blinded me with a soft shade of yellowish pink. Still dazed, I sat up, the action shooting pains up my upper back through to my shoulder blades, and putting me into a rather awkward position. Why? I straightened myself, and in doing so gave a rather satisfying crack that echoed through the room. Yet it was strange because my room wasn't such a very big room at all. Miranda! I blinked. Yes? I croaked softly. Miranda! The door swung open, and there stood my mother, holding a sandwich bag with a sandwich inside. Ah, you're awake. Listen, we're leaving in about an hour. Since you take a while, she glanced away, even though the average person should take 30 minutes, muttering under her breath. I stared at her. She caught my glance, but it couldn't make eye contact. Anyways, just please start sooner rather than later. Yeah. I yawned. Give me a minute. Mother nodded and softly closed my bedroom door. I groaned, pulling the covers off of me, inviting in the cold, stuffy air in the cold, stuffy room that I inhabit. I got out of bed, stumbling a bit as the room spun for a few seconds, and I walked over to my closet door. I sighed as I got ready for the long road ahead, wearing the same yellow t-shirt and gray pants and doing other preparations I honestly didn't think were necessary. I wrung my hands through my dark black curly hair and looked at my door. New day, huh? A new adventure. If you could really call a 6-hour road trip that. I stared at it, and after a while, the stare turned into a glare. I don't have to go out there, do I? Outside? It isn't pleasant. Can't I just... I sighed, walking forward towards sweat, suffering, and boredom incarnated. At least the destination is worth the struggle. I was completely awake now, the fog from my eyes non-existent. I stumbled down the stairs, smelling breakfast in the air, although funny enough, I don't exactly remember what it smelled like. I entered the kitchen to the right of the stairs and found steam rising from all directions from the stove. Mother! I ran frantically over to the stove and its burning contents, which happened to be bacon. Mom, why? Why did it have to be bacon? As I inwardly cried, I coughed sporadically while waving smoke away from my face. You're burning the kitchen! Again! I choked, the smoke surrounding my entire head. I took the pot off the burner, placed it into the sink, and turned on the water, which blasted steam upwards and outwards. I sputtered, stumbling backwards. I wheezed out my last clean breaths. How many times do we have to tell you? The stove is like a campfire, but you're not supposed to actually make a fire. Haha, Mom called from downstairs. It's the stove, I'm telling you. It has a mind of its own. Where's Jazz? I whipped the air of its fluffy gray layering. Shouldn't he be minding his own business? Jazz, my brother, appeared in the kitchen doorway. Yes, I believe he should. What do you... I started, but Jazz started making some weird motions. He mimed holding a bag, then taking whatever was in the bag out of the bag and into his mouth. Then he made a yummy motion on his stomach. I was confused at first, thinking him daft, but then I realized, and a big smile appeared on my face. Jazz smiled back and walked out of the room. Well, how bad are they? Mom called. You think they're still edible? I grimaced, looking at the charred remains of what once was a savory delectable, now was only savory to the pits of a trash can. Maybe the tips of it can be salvaged? I sighed heavily, my hope for bacon still in the air, overcoming any form of my common sense. It's alright. I'll think of something. As Mother walked upstairs, Jace, also my brother, called from upstairs. Has anyone seen a beige sock? I walked over to the foot of the stairs. Sorry, no. Besides, it's been on your foot. Who would want to? Jace popped his head out of his and Jazz's room. Everyone, obviously, which is why it's so baffling that no one has seen it. He popped back inside. I shook my head and looked from side to side, not really knowing what to do with myself. I decided that I would not be much use in helping, so I had to go back to my room and stay on my computer. I sat down and booted up the old screen, my computer. I've had it since I was 8, and boy has it been through some rough times. The screen is half of the blue it used to be, and littered with fingerprints. The frame is cracked and rusty, the keys are faded and sticky, and a few of them are missing. But it's still my computer. With all of the misgivings, it still ran like a dream. With its black frame, gentle smooth lining, and unrivaled reliability, it was like a friend I never had. And if there is juice, tuck it dry, no? Capital JZEZZ035 hashtag lowercase C00L. After a few seconds, the password worked, and I began my usual routine. Checking my email, V for virtual, seeing the latest VidWeb content, seeing if I needed to waste more of my hours on Vortex Mix. It was all standard stuff. I did skew the routine a bit, going out of my way to check if Shauna Vey posted any new singles yet, and it turns out she did. You're Not a Lie. Weird for a song title. I put my headphones on, turned it up to 100, pressed play, and immediately started dancing to the song, silently singing along the way. You're not a lie, you're not a lie, you're not a lie, you're not a no, you're not a friend, you're not a friend, you're not a friend, you're not a no, you're not a way, you're not a way, you're not a way. Oh, yes, it's who you are, oh, yes, it's who you are. You're not a must, not a must, not a ma, you're not a gunner, not a gunner, not a gun, you're not a fighter, you're not a no. Oh, yes, it's who you are, oh, yes, it's who you are. Oh, when you drop out, then you have to pick back up and go on to your dream. When you think it's over, it really is not, oh, it's just what it seems. I opened my eyes to see Elizabeth standing in the doorway, hand over her mouth, desperately trying not to laugh. I stared back. Oh, like you haven't danced to music either. No, haha, not that. Elizabeth pointed all around me. I looked down and realized I was tangled in my headphone cords. I froze, panicking I might flinch the wrong way and destroy my already damaged computer. I shimmied over, unplugging the cord, forgetting I only muted my headphones, allowing Shauna Vey's beautiful singing voice to be blared all throughout the house. Not that that was a bad thing per se, but some just can't appreciate musical talent when it's shouted in their faces. Turn that off! Exhibit A. Dad, a resident Shauna hater. I don't know what his problem is with the music, but he hates it with a burning passion. Now! I think he secretly listens to it while no one's watching, but I've never been able to videotape it, so it remains unknown for now. Miranda! I stiffened. Elizabeth gritted her teeth and sighed heavily. She inched away from my doorframe. I pondered letting the music run a bit more, but decided to let Dad keep pretending before the music takes control of him like the true fan he is. Turning the music off, I realized there wasn't much to do for preparation, so I packed my computer up and headed back downstairs to rest on the couch. Conveniently, Dad likes to sit down there. At least, I think he does. He has started staying there, but I don't know why. Maybe he likes the open space in the living room, or maybe he just likes easy TV access. Who knows. We don't know what he's doing. He's kinda secretive at times, but he is Dad, and we love him, so we just let him do his thing without question or hassle. I plopped on the couch and closed my eyes, feeling the eyes of Dad staring back at me. What? I tossed upright. Nothing, Dad said. I opened my eyes and stared back, but he went back to whatever he was doing on his laptop. I reclosed my eyes and found peace for approximately 5 minutes and 47 seconds until Jace walked in. Dad. I opened one eye to look at Jace. Yes? Dad paused whatever he was doing and turned to Jace. The sock remains missing. Dad sighed. Did you check the sock drawer? Jace blinked. Do you really take me for a fool? Do you really want me to answer that? Dad proceeded to get up out of his chair and go upstairs. I was about to go back to sleep when I saw Jace make a cheeky grin. I sighed and sighed. Here we go again. He looked to me as if challenging me, daring me to call him out. I wasn't going to, but even if I was too tired to anyway, so that was pointless. He swiveled into Dad's seat and started fiddling with the computer, pressing keys, moving the cursor, you know, that kind of stuff. Then he started clicking, and more importantly, right-clicking. Fear shot through me, and justice called for me to get up, but laziness was not having any of that. The light shining from Jace's face emitted a bright green, and for some reason, the shade seemed familiar. He seemed satisfied with his progress, and got up only to be pushed back by Dad. Sorry. Jace got it back up, trying to shift past him, but Dad outstretched an arm, blocking him. What were you doing in my seat? Dad eyed Jace. Oh, nothing. Just being a curious boy. I thought I saw something interesting. Nothing but taxes. Dad stared at him. Jace grew a nervous look. Soon, though, he lowered his hand, and Jace hurried up the stairs into his room. Dad looked in my general direction, so I closed my eye. I always found it weird when Jace did stuff like that. He'd try to sneak into some device and scroll through it, nearly getting caught each time. I don't know if it's the thrill or what. Personally, I think it's creepy, and I'd never give him even a watch if he asked. No telling what he'd do to it. Well, time passed, and soon enough, I heard Mom say for everyone to get ready to get into the car. I opened my eyes, got up, and headed upstairs to get my things. I put all of them by the front door and waited for the call of march. I mean, us going to the car at the same time, 'cause why not? I don't know when we started doing that, the going out same time thing. I think it was after that one time we were 4 hours late for Jazz's recital. Mother wasn't letting that happen anymore. Jazz was the next one to arrive, carrying his PGL close at hand. He leaned against the wall and took a position as if he was pondering world hunger. He always looked so serious when he did that. He's always thinking, coming up with solutions to problems that don't even concern him, that don't even need solving. One time I can't seem to remember. Oh, never mind. Probably nothing important anyway. Next came Jace, hobbling over while trying to put on his sneakers. He looked like a pogo stick. He didn't have anything on but a backpack. He stood next to Jazz, eyeing him as if trying to interpret what next groundbreaking philosophical discovery Jazz will inevitably proclaim. Jace always likes to do that. Being the younger out of the two, he's a follower, but funny enough, he acts more opposite to Jazz's personal mood. He's more chill. Jace is more rowdy. So I don't know what all that following is doing him. Honestly, it's making him more annoying than anything. Still, he's family, so gotta love him, even if you don't, right? If he wasn't family, I don't know what I'd do. Living with him is already tough. If I didn't have to, I'd probably leave him on the side of the road or something. Haha. I kid. But still, I wonder about that. If he wasn't family, would things be different? Should they be different? Since he's different? Then came Dad, gruffly as always. He dropped his big duffel bag on the floor and began searching for the lost keys. That's what we call them, since they always seem to be lost. It's also why Mom makes sure we get ready a good number of minutes before we have to leave. So yeah, he's forgetful, and we know that he isn't the best dad, but he tries, I guess, so I can't blame him for that. He can be so nice, though, like when... a lot of times. Starting down the hallway came Mom with her bright fuchsia purse and black hair swaying here and there. She was the epitome of beauty. She says she's not all that, but we don't believe her. We all say she should go into modeling, but she says, "Nonsense! I'd rather be here with my darling children." Honestly, I think she had us and just didn't realize she would be good at it until it was too late. Sometimes I feel we're keeping her from doing what she really wants to do, but she seems alright, so I don't let it bother me. Besides, in my humble opinion, she looks twice the model as anyone else. Almost magical. Ethereal. Mom went and stood beside Dad. A clinking and creaking of the steps could be heard proceeding downwards. And then there came a soda can? It fell down the steps. We all stared at it. "Come on, Lizzie, we don't got all day," Jay said impatiently. "Hold your muffins, I'm coming." And there finally came Elizabeth, practically being smushed by all of her luggage. She isn't particularly weak, but she really hates any kind of unnecessary physical activity. She'll do it if she wants to, but if she doesn't have to, she's gonna fall as flat as a pancake. And trust me, she is stubborn too. If she doesn't want to do something, nope, she's not doing it. She really is a nice kid, but you tend to expect these things, what with her being 8 and all. "Come on, Liz." I went and helped some of her luggage off of her. It fell like a brick to the floor. "What's even in here?" I said, opening it. "Hey, wait!" Liz pleaded. Her luggage consisted of a PGL Lite, backpack, books, notepad, pencils, a few toys, extra batteries, 4,096 index cards. Why that many? Scissors, some strange-looking pills, and some modeling clay. "Liz, no one needs all this," I sighed. "Technically, for one of them at least, I do, and I might get bored," she smiled. "You're boring me," Jace muttered. "No one asked you, Jay-Z," Liz blurted. Jay-Z, they both work." "No one asked you to pack all that either." "Hey, guys, let's maybe not," Jazz tried to calm the waters. "Jazz, not now," Jace. "Jazz, please no," Elizabeth. The waves crashed back. "She can bring whatever she wants if it can fit. If it gets lost, that's on her," Mom said matter-of-factly. "Now, it's getting later than it should be. Let's go. Honey?" the honey, was still searching for the keys. Mom walked up to him and plucked them right from his pocket. He looked at her whimsically as she opened the door and pushed it in frustration. They all marched out while I was lifting the heavy pink backpack. I looked at them. At Jazz, at Jay's, at Dad, Mom, and Elizabeth. At family. Family, I thought. And I smiled, heading out the door and locking it behind me. A drive to adventure. Our Scion car isn't a fast one, more focused on miles rather than engine power. It was smallish, just able to hold the entire family. Its wheels were 1 feet in diameter, and the length front to back was about 12 feet. Oh, and the width was 6 feet. So many feet. Mother pulled out of the driveway, and off we went. As we pulled out into the highway, Jay's let it slip. So, what's for breakfast? We were sitting in the back seat, all 4 of us. It was a tight squeeze, but we worked it out. Jazz on the far left, then Jay's, then me, and Elizabeth far right. Jazz and I, being the closest to Jay's, were the first to try and silence him, but to no avail, for his mouth was faster than our reactions. That didn't stop us from mouthing him off, though. Yes, well, seems my blunder has forced us to go off route, Mom said, turning off into a very familiar intersection. We all wiggled with excitement, for we all knew where we were going, and soon enough, we were pulling into a we-got-your-eats fast food place. Dad turned around to face us. Alright, people, what are we getting? I'll have a lemon and chicken bits, Jazz requested. The usual for me, I said. Give me a burger and fries, thank you, demanded Jay's. Fries with ketchup and those little dinosaur thingies, asked Elizabeth. Please? Yo, Zachary shouted. Okay, don't all talk at once, he said, shaking his head. Alright, so that's 11 chicken bits for Jazz. Yes. The usual for Miranda. Righto. Don't ever say that again. Burger and fries. How grown up, Jay's. And fries. Ketchup and the dino hash browns? Yes, sir. Alright, got all that, Xena? He turned. Mom was typing all the information into the panel and selected her password. She winked at him. Dad turned red. We all inwardly groaned except for Elizabeth. Pure One was looking at a bright bluish bird that had perched on our right side view mirror. Honestly, Dad tries to act all cold, but we all know his soft side. For one thing, he got with Mom. The bluish bird Elizabeth was looking at flew away as we started to move, and as a result, she was now pouting and mumbling some weird lingo I could honestly not understand. That all changed, though, when the kind cashier lady honestly almost got Mom to have a 10-minute conversation about muffins. Swoosh! The lady opened the door. Alright, say your order password, the lady prompted. Muffin Master 48, Mom passed her credit card. The cashier took it. Ah, so I see you're a muffin connoisseur. Mom smirked. Ha! I am no mere connoisseur. I am a master in the art of the muffin. You too look like someone who has dabbled in the muffin arts. Come, tell me of your journey. I groaned. Sometimes she sounds so much like a little kid. Or at least younger than she actually is. The lady stopped and stepped back in surprise, and while putting her hand to her chest and smiling, I thought you'd never ask. We all stiffened in the back when we realized this possibility. Jazz and I immediately turned to look behind us to find no cars waiting. We looked at each other and grimaced at the thought. There was no stopping this now. Luckily, the Muffin Madness ensued for only 2 more minutes, because the manager came out in the middle of it, and to the joy of everyone in the back seat, Dad didn't care since this meant more time than that. He said, I pay you to work, not chit-chat. Give them their food already. We all sighed the sigh of victory, for that shut them right up. The lady stunned, fidgeted around for our breakfast, and gave the back Mom's card. She handed Mom the bag, and Mom passed it to the back. It had been a minute, but thankfully, for the conversation ended quickly, and the bag had been tightly closed, the food was still warm and mouth-wateringly smellicious. It took all of me not to just dig in. It also took all of me not to keep Elizabeth and Jace from getting their unclean hands on our food. Guys! I held the bag high. Clean hands! Please! What are you, barbarians? Don't act like you didn't eat yesterday. But Dino Bites... Elizabeth reached up. Dino Bites will be here in a few seconds, please! Oh, just give me the bag, Jace said, unbuckling. Jazz put a stop to that. She'll hand you the bag after you disinfect. Now, calm down, Jazz pleaded. I shook my head. What kind of family do I belong to? Sigh. Ma finally bid farewell to the cashier, but not before she could give the lady her contact information and a code to get into her baking group on Social Tree, or as I like to call it, an invasion of privacy and a complete waste of time. Mom drove away. Elizabeth waved goodbye to her as we passed the window. The lady smiled, I think. Mom handed us the big bottle of health disinfectant, and Jazz and I made sure everyone used it, and actually used it, before giving them their food. The consequence of the long wait and the mouth-watering smell accumulated to us wolfing down every last bite like animals. I don't know about the others' food, but mine tasted like heaven after that wait. The fries, glistening with oil, had a shine to them, and coupled together with the bumpiness of the breaded coating, it made it look like a geode. As I ate one, the texture was like nothing I've ever felt before, and the flavor, oh, it was so out of this world. It first tasted like rough air, and then the oil squeezed out and filled the whole flavor with oily goodness. Oh goodness, it was a dream where every bite brought out more and more exquisite adventures that say, yes, I am sweet, I am savory, and I am pure potatoy goodness, and there's more. All you need to do is just take another bite of happiness, another bite of warmness, another bite of squishy, salty goodness, and a whole new world will just be shown to you. A new world hidden under today's reality. A reality unlike the lies up above, on the surface. You want to see it? Just open your eyes. Yes, just another bite. Another bite of we got your eats fries. Something every world should be blessed with. What? Oh, did I make you hungry? I bet you wish you had these fries with you. Well, too bad. They're all mine, so ha! Okay, well. That adventure ended in exactly 32 bites, or, in actual time, 2 minutes. I realized too late that the journey bade me farewell, for my hand reached down into the new, desolate fry box, and was met by the evil crumbs of this world. Always reminding me of what I could have had, and yet not giving me anything close to it. It seizes my hunger and says, yeah, you just had that deliciously scrumptious snack, but I'm sorry, the snacks are all gone now, gone to sate your hunger. Yet it apparently did the opposite, and now you must wallow here in your sadness, knowing that you will never get your happiness back, for the snacks are all gone. The fries are gone. You ate them. The crumbs made you realize they took it from you, your happiness. But you ate them. Blame yourself. You should have eaten them slower, you fool, you idiot, you moron, you utter buffoon, you Sorry, I don't know where... Sigh. Well, you get the point, right? Even though I was feeling this way, I made sure not to show it, although it was clear to me that I wasn't the only one feeling like that. Me seeing the sad and crestfallen moods emanating from my siblings' faces. Mom looked back and sighed. I don't know how to win here. You say you all want to go and eat their food, yet you always act like puppies that just lost their mother. She eyed us through the rearview mirror. Do you want to come here or not? None of us were able to answer her. She shook her head and continued driving. I try. 8 hours later, we were all asleep. Like, conked out, super hard sleep. I mean, who could blame us? Especially everyone that's not Jay's. Who wouldn't get tired of all his tiring jokes, annoying pranks, and practically 45-minute long games that have no right to be played in a car? Who plays board games in a car? The pieces flop all over everywhere. I mean, come on! But nevertheless, he finally dozed off and let us have a moment of peace. Yet we were so tired of him, we just went to sleep right after. That was about 3 hours ago. The other 5 hours were painful. Just sitting there in the car with nothing to do, it makes me not want to be in a car anymore. The heat was excruciating. I was literally an ant on the other side of a magnifying glass. I felt like smashing the car's windows, although that didn't seem, too helpful, so I decided against it. Coupled together that and dealing with Dad's obsessive snoring and Jace's antics, it was tiring. So here we are now, sleeping in the furnace we call the back of the car, waiting for our slumber to be broken so we can see the light of day again. And Mom did just that. Well, guys. People. Hey! We all sat up forward fast. Jace rushed up and bumped his head on the chair in front of him. Ow! Why? Hey, sleepyheads. Mom turned towards Dad and frowned. Hey, sleepy. She leaned carefully towards Dad here. Head! Dad hit his head on the dashboard. We all did our best to hold in our snickers, but we were failing terribly. Mom looked over and gave us the death stare, though, so we shut right up. Mom composed herself. Now, if you turn your heads to stage left, you'll see now that we're here. We turned our heads towards the right window. I was blinded for a second, but then I saw it. We saw it. We saw happiness and adventure incarnated. We saw magical Calvin Benares Adventure Amusement Park, bliss extracted from the lakes of Lagunaga. We saw the place we're going to stay for the this whole entire year. Mystical, ain't it? What a rush. A ticket to a fabled dream getaway. As we got out of the car, we breathed in something we have long forgotten. Fresh air. I mean, come on. Being in that stuffy, hot mess of a car for 9 hours straight gets to you, alright? You start thinking thoughts like, what even is clean air anymore? And what does the ground feel like again? Honestly, if I was in that death trap for one more second, I was gonna burst. But we're here now. We're here to stay for another year. Now isn't that something? We wasted no time as we rushed towards the park, towards a magical world. The outside perimeter was just a huge moat that the cars would park outside of. The walls were lined with purple and yellow stripes on gray patterned brick. The ends of the building had tall, imposing castle towers that seemed to lean into you, and dotted throughout the top of the building ran tall, red, looming castle spires, the flags on them flapping in the wind, proudly showing the company's logo, all inwardly pointing down to the middle of the building. And at its center, there were bright, bold, screaming yellow words, "Get lost in our magic, and let us guide your adventure. You won't regret it." Wow, I thought. Just wow. I stopped and stood there in the middle of the parking lot, staring at this wonder of construction. I looked to my left and saw Elizabeth was doing the same. Jay stopped and looked back. "Hey, slowpokes!" His words snapped us both back to reality. We both glared at him. He looked taken aback, but recomposed himself. "If we were as slow as you, it'd be next year until we ever crossed that moat." I sighed. Elizabeth, glaring intently, puffed out her cheeks. "Fine," she smirked. "If you wanted to race that badly, you should have said so." "A what?" 3, 2, 1, go! And off she went, bursting like she was a star athlete on a track team. "Humph, what a child," Jay said, blasting off after her as if the world would end. I smiled. Jazz shifted over to me. "Children, am I right?" He awkwardly smirked. "Yes, totally." I looked at him. We looked away, then back, then away again. And as we took a glance once more, loser pays for whatever snack the winner wants. "Deal," he agreed, and off we blasted, to wonder and adventures that we would harbor memories for years to come. I'm sure of it. I'd just like to say, I won that race. Yep, definitely didn't trip over a curb, skin my knee, and now have to walk with a limp for the rest of the day because of it. Nope, nada, nah, no way. Anyways, enough of that unimportant nonsense. The castle's interior practically took my breath away, and my pain, the moment I saw it. I mean, what with its attractions, I doubt anyone would be the same the first time they took the plunge here. They'd be stunned for sure. The moment you enter, your eyes are fixed on the stunning centerpiece, a gold statue in the shape of some weird animal. It kind of looked like a frog, but it had some sort of weird tail and ears. Probably the company's mascot, although it is astonishing what they think kids will like these days. Sort of looked creepy to me, but okay. Well, a lot of things look creepy to me, I guess. Its eyes were embedded with purple jewels, and it seemed as if it was glaring at you, testing you, looking deep within you to your very soul, seeing if you were worthy enough to pass those sacred doors. The eyes looked surreal. In front of that was the reception, just a normal desk with people at it. After you notice that, though, your eyes finally take in the color all around it, and you're just hit with this bright, eye-straining golden glow. Enveloped by its haze, you're barely able to see. But when everything clears, you find yourself looking up at a marvel of modern structural talent. There were pillars coming up from all sides, lined with such detail you could be staring at them for hours without noticing any such length of time. There were pictures plastered onto the walls that seemed to tell some ancient, forbidden story, and the centerpiece, a massive bright gilded chandelier that hung down by a thin winding of wire that makes you think, when is it going to fall? Your eyes finally fall, and you realize you're just one sardine in a can full to the brim. Everyone was bustling about, whether it was talking to company staff or just getting from place to place. You find yourself taking in new fixtures on the ground, like the twin mermaid waterfall statues both looking at each other, springing out water by their outstretched hands in a graceful swan pose when you look in front of the frog. The big looming statue of a menacing wolf glaring at you when you look on the left. A proud knight posing in honor and glory and victory as he raises his sword up high to the heavens on the right. And off in its own little corner, the most important place in this room, nay, in this entire amusement park, the food stands. What? It's food. How can you say no to that smell of delicious greasy fries? The warm, juicy smell of bacon and burgers, the fried waft of sautéed spinach. Just makes you want to go right to it, right? I'm sorry. We're going to be mentioning food a lot here. I'd recommend bringing something to eat. Remember the rule of thumb, though? Never eat over something precious. Don't want to mess it up, right? Right? Ah! I grimaced in pain. Jazz was helping me up by the arm. Well, you shouldn't have run so fast. He shook his head. It was totally worth it, though. I smiled. I don't know if a snack is a good enough reason for it. Shh. I tapped him on the back. I want steak sticks. Why do I even bother? He rolled his eyes. You're avoiding the topic at hand. Steak sticks, Jazz. I eyed him. Steak sticks. Why do you even eat those stuff? Steak sticks is actually tastier than it first sounds. No, believe me, it is. They freeze dry it in this little package and refrigerate it, but then once you heat it up, it's good for like hours, and even if it cools down, it's still edible, still tasty. I hope they have them here, I worried. If not, then a bag of chips will suffice. You need to think about the bigger picture. One of these days, that one-tracked head of yours is going to be your downfall. It brings me food. Why should I give it up? We waited for Mom and Dad to make our reservations, and to my dismay, we headed straight to our rooms to unpack, even though we were obviously all hungry, and the delicious-smelling food stands were just begging us to come and drop by, but no! We need to do what's important and settle down before having a heavy meal. Honestly, where's the logic in that? What's the difference? We rode the bumpy elevator ride, which was not good for my limped leg, walked the long hallways to get to our door, which was also not good for my skinned knee leg, carried our bags in, having the heavy weight weigh us down, which was also not good for my bad leg, and all took turns taking showers, which was triple also very not good for my bloody knee-skinned leg. The thing burned like water on a red stove. Wow, that was a mouthful. Oh, right, our room! It isn't much, honestly. Looks to be like a miniature-sized cabin. Kinda weird with this place trying the whole medieval theme, but seeing as what they lived in back then, I think the cabin idea was best. A fireplace was in the center of the room, and above it was a large, thick, black-screen television. There were chairs and couches around it, and just to the left was a kitchenette. There were also stairs leading up to quite a high balcony, where there were beds. Guess we were all sleeping together. Not that I minded. This was a hotel after all. It's to be expected. And last but not least, hey, they even have this cool prop room. Jace rushed through the door on the left marked prep room. Jazz, Elizabeth, and I followed Jace through this mysterious room, and we found ourselves in a room that you'd probably see in some medieval play. The walls were lined with swords, axes, bows, and other various weapons that I'd rather not know the name of. I think there was a sickle, which was weird because I've never seen a knight depicted using that tool. Neither does it fit with the theme of long, pointy swords. It's more suited for cutting motions. Scattered amid weaponry were sets of armor, cape and all. Ours had a blue cape. Oh, cool, Jazz exclaimed. An armory! Going over to stand and admire the sets of armor. They even have weapons! Oh, cool! Jace said, swinging around a straight sword. He swung it into his hand and frowned. Oh, come on! These aren't even real! Well, of course they aren't. I shook my head. Who would give children actual, real, deadly weapons? An instigator, that's who. Jace stuck out his tongue at me. I did the same. Well, I wouldn't hurt anyone. Right. Guys! Called Elizabeth. Come look at this! We walked over. She was kneeling at a small, lengthy, treasure chest-looking crate. The surface was covered with little geode-looking crystals that shimmered a new shade of color every time you looked at it. There was a small, mechanical-looking lock on the front with a black square above it. Oh, cool, I said, kneeling and feeling the bumpy embedded crystals all over the chest. What's inside? I don't know. It looks so pretty. I almost don't want to touch it. She trailed off, looking at my hands. I slowly removed them. I call dibs! Jace ran over and tried to pry it open with all his might, until his face turned purple. It did not move. What good is putting a chest here? You can't open it. Maybe it's something we'll open later on in our adventure, Jazz suggested, then pondered. Actually, it'd be pretty symbolic if that were the case. Like we become worthy of opening the treasure chest after long hours of adventuring to prove ourselves through various trials that I'm sure they'll put forth to us, and we were all staring at him. I mean, it could be that. Right, I said. Or maybe it could be that this is something we needed to have paid beforehand, like extra DLC. Or that, Jazz sighed. Whatever it is, it's still pretty, Elizabeth pleasantly remarked, still looking at it intently. Dinner time! Mom called from the kitchen. She was making dinner? Jace asked. I guess so, Jazz answered. Wow, that was fast, Elizabeth exclaimed. Food, finally! I beamed. We went to the kitchen's long table with high stools and were greeted by our dinner. Pizza. Well, they were having pizza. I was having a sandwich. We all sat down and began to eat from the fine dishes and silverware. For being a medieval-styled place, man, were these items fancy. The plates were all golden with white lines forming a nice floral pattern. And the silverware, still being mostly silver, of course, were all lined also with that golden touch. And with the mini chandelier hanging from the center of the table, both the plates and silverware reflected its light, so that the whole room was showered with its powerful golden glow. So magical and bright, it looked like fairy dust. Sunlight? I thought. Reminds me of the glint from the sunlight reflected off of the water from the shoreline of the beach. So, Dad began, rolling up his sleeves to dig in. How are you guys liking it here? It's so cool, Jazz exclaimed. I was reading up on this place, and apparently it's based on an island from a book with a lake. Kind of like ours, but bigger of course. Ours is more like a pond. I can't tell if this place wants to be a medieval land or a fairy tale, Jace grumbled, and Jazz sighed, quickly giving up. I think it's trying to be both, Elizabeth said. It certainly is an interesting design choice, inputted Mom. Really, if they wanted the best experience, they should really have just picked one, Jay said. I put down my sandwich. What's wrong with them being both? I questioned. Well, I mean, it's not normal, and you're going against the status quo, so... They probably just want to be different, Jazz suggested. Yeah, that's it. They're different, agreed Jace. What's wrong with being different? I pressed. He stammered. Nothing, I guess. But if you want your audience to have a pleasant experience, you should really keep to the norm. Are we not having a pleasant experience? I challenged. Well, no, I mean, yes? Jace was a mess. Being different isn't bad. Sometimes a break from the norm is good, Jazz said. Ooh, whoa. Especially if we can keep experiencing moments like this, Elizabeth agreed, waving her hand, trying to touch the light's golden glow. I guess, Jace admitted. You know, I think you all should be grateful we even came out here. Mom eyed us all individually, whether it's different or not. Oh, trust me, we are, Jazz said. Yeah, totally. Jace tried helping. Mom rolled her eyes. Well, at least the food is good. Dad awkwardly changed the subject. And hey, they even accommodate for food allergies. I perked up. Yeah, how is that, Miranda? Mom asked. I paused. I looked down at my food. I don't know. A dramatic clash. After dinner, we sat down to watch television, mostly tuning into the eating place and watching Sustenance Sensation, a show you really shouldn't watch without a plate in hand. But alas, it was getting late, so soon we ended our dive into foodie goodness and got ready for bed. There were 4 large beds, so at least 2 of us needed to share, which was to be expected. I mean, I highly doubt your average hotel room is going to have 6 separate beds. No! Jazz exclaimed when Mom suggested tonight's sleeping arrangements. He shook his head vigorously. No, not ever again! Mom frowned. And why, pray tell not? Have you ever tried sleeping in the same bed as him? Mom stifled a laugh. Jace looked offended. Oh, come on, I'm not that bad. You're literally a kangaroo sleepboxing. My rib still aches from the memory, Jazz gestured, and at that we all burst into laughter. Jazz massaged his ribcage area. Nuh-uh, no way, nada, nope, never again. Elizabeth fell onto the bed. Ha ha! Kangaroo boxing, 'cause he kicks in his sleep. I get it. Jace fumed. Oh, please. Your sleep whistling is literally a bat screeching. Don't go for me. Oh, right. She did do it in the car ride up. Hey! At least my quirk doesn't cause bodily harm. Seriously? My ears are almost out from the car ride up here. I didn't really notice. The glass almost shattered, he shook his head. And you say it doesn't cause bodily harm. It's actually pretty sweet, I said softly. Like a laughing marsupial. I immediately regretted it. They all stared at me with quizzical expressions. I paused, feeling flustered. Nothing. I looked away. Ha! You sure about that? Laughed Jazz. Oh, please, I puffed. You've said weirder things. Says the one who eats steak sticks, Jazz grinned. I yawned. Well, the one who says the most weird things would have to be Jay-Z, Elizabeth eyed Jace and grinned. What? Wait, why me? Jace looked hurt. Well, you see, the most weirdest among us would naturally say the most weirdest things. Lizzie. Hew. Elizabeth smiled with flushed cheeks. Hew. Jace stammered. Oh, hew. And that was how the first pillow was thrown. But Jace is a lousy shot. I'm just kidding. He tripped. Ow! I muffled a wince. having had the entire pillow shoved in my face. I freed my face and daggered eyes at Jay's. He froze. Jace put his hands in the air and gritted his teeth. Whoops. And that was how the second pillow was thrown. Okay, well, technically still the same pillow, but you get what I mean. Sadly, as I was in my throwing stance, my leg winced with pain, making me falter, and thus, the trajectory of the pillow deviated off course slightly, but enough to smack Jazz in the chin. He staggered back. He looked at me. Miranda. I pointed to my cut. Blame the knee, not me. Oh, don't worry. If I blame you, I'll be indirectly blaming the knee too, he said, grabbing the pillow. It'll all work out. And smiling. Jay's grabbed a different pillow. I feel like we have a common enemy, he said, nodding towards me while still keeping eyes on Elizabeth. Shall we partake in the throwing of the pillows? He smiled deviously. It, Jazz grinned, would be my pleasure. Quickly grabbing Elizabeth's arm, I rushed to take cover between the beds. They were all pointed inward on each other in neat rows, which made for some surprisingly good cover. Whoosh! Jace threw the first pillow, which was so close to grazing Elizabeth's leg before I pulled her in. She grabbed it, holding it like a shield. Bang! Jazz made use of his pillow as a grenade, throwing it upwards, trying to get our blind spots, our heads. Elizabeth noticed this, pulled me close, and covered the incoming grenade. Pillow? Granilla? Whatever you want to call it. She blocked the incoming HP, harmful projectile. We had in possession 2 pillows, and I certainly wasn't going to let that go to waste. Springing up in a left rushing twirl, I located the 2 ruffians, aimed, and threw each one in rapid succession. The first one at Jace's middle, and the second one went for Jazz's head. And they would have hit too, if Jace hadn't acted so quickly, grabbing a third pillow and blocking both. No time to think though, for that pillow was quickly rushing straight towards me right after that spurt. I ducked, the pillow flying past me. I could feel the rush of air coming from it. It felt exhilarating. Rule 2 of home pillow fight. If you're hit, you're out. Elizabeth was hit. She tried to make a grab for the speeding pillow as it flew over our heads, but in the process, Jace was able to bounce the pillow off of Elizabeth's head, ricocheting it backwards, making it inaccessible for us. Honestly, I don't know how Jace be pulling off this type of stuff. It boggles my mind sometimes. Elizabeth fell down, pulling something down with her and rubbing the back of her head. You okay? I asked with urgency. Yeah, she said, shaking her head. Sorry, this is all I got. She held up a pillowcase. Thoughts and ideas sprang through my head. Of what little I had, I needed it to work. One after another, variations whirled through my brain. In and out and in. Rework, double check, triple check. And then I had one. Perfect, I said a few seconds later. I grabbed the pillowcase and looked up, still eyeing Elizabeth. Stay here, I've got this. And then, I made my bet. I threw. At the same time the pillowcase left the grasp of my hand and went over the bed towards the 2 stooges, I burst with all my might out of my cover and twisted right. Only for a brief moment did I see Jace's surprised face as he readjusted his aim and directed it at my outward pursuit, holding a 4th pillow, hands over his left. It did little good, though, for I was already sprinting forwards into the cover that was behind the one I had just been in. The pillow he throws just barely missing, grazing the back of my left outstretched foot. Jazz, separate from all this, aimed for the decoy with surprisingly good accuracy. The pillow shot directly in the middle of the pillowcase and bounced at the back of the bed, springing upwards. I, now safely in the back cover, was directly behind Jazz's pillow, and making good of my quick reflexes, jumped, caught the pillow, and sent it back to Jazz, hitting him in the forehead. Jazz was hit. I fell back down, snickering ferociously, leaving both Jazz and Jace stunned and vexed. Rule 3 of home pillow fight. Anything else goes. Rule 1 of home pillow fight. You can only attack using a pillow. Alright, I thought. One versus one. I peered over to take a peek. Jace was over by Jazz, gathering ammunition. 1 pillow. He has 3. I had thrown the 2 others I had over an arch to try to imitate what Jazz did in the beginning, but to no avail. It no work. I looked to my side and grabbed the fallen pillowcase. Whatever you do, do now, do fast, and style. I sprinted forward. An onslaught of HPs was waiting for me. The first one went for my head, and while I ducked to the floor, the second went for my feet. I did a slight hop. Stumbling after, I landed back onto the ground, unable to comprehend how I reacted that fast. I skidded to a stop, flung the pillowcase down, and locked eyes, and eventually pillows, with Jay's. We grinned. Swing, duck, block, parry, swing, repeat. It was an endless battle. For every swing I took, Jace blocked or parried, and for every thrust he chanced, I dodged and swung at him. At this point, Elizabeth and Jazz were standing by the sidelines, eager to see the outcome, or just enjoying the show. I could have sworn out of the corner of my eye I saw Elizabeth eating air popcorn. Honestly. I quickly glanced to my left, seeing the flat-lying pillowcase. While blocking Jay's, I sidestepped to the left, Jay's being in his rush and flurry of attacks, which I made sure to get him in. He quickly followed me and stepped onto the landmine set for him. Quickly grabbing the pillowcase with my foot, I yanked it with all my strength and swung at Jay's head, making him duck. He fell to the floor fast, instinctively putting his hands behind him to shield the impact. This I used to my advantage, for one has no guard when their hands are behind them, swinging down my pillow at him. He winced and prepared for impact, for which I responded by letting the pillow fall by itself. Elizabeth and Jazz's faces were priceless. Rule 4 of home pillow fight: the last one unhit wins. As I flopped onto a bed for rest, the others berated me with praise, questions, and retorts. "My word, you just won us the whole game," praised Elizabeth. "Inhuman, straight bonkers. Like, how did you come up with that?" "Nice use of the pillowcase." Jazz scratched his head, utter amazement showing on his face. "Humph, lucky break." "Oh, come now, Jay," leveled Jazz. "Jay works too." To be honest, I don't know why they didn't name him Jay. I guess they wanted to keep with the Z theme. Kind of weird, though. I think the name is all cool. I don't know about Jay's, though. "Oh, please, one more exchange, and I would have had her on the floor." "Oh my," Elizabeth grinned. "The words I'm hearing sounds like a sore loser." She looked at Jay's, stuck her chin up, tiptoed, and did this interesting face to what seemed like it was an attempt at asserting dominance. I just thought it looked cute. "Listen, Jay's is probably right," I said. The others looked at me with puzzled looks. Well, if it did continue for longer, I would have gone to the floor. I looked away, and would have drop-kicked him right after, sending him to the floor and... I smiled. Well, it's easy to guess what would have happened next. I looked back. Jazz and Elizabeth were practically shoving Jay's away, who was savagely trying to get at me. I started laughing. So did Elizabeth and Jazz. And finally, even Jay's got in on it too. "Hey!" Dad called from downstairs. "Quiet down! You're not the only ones in this hotel room, you know!" But that only served to make us laugh even harder, even louder. It was a nice laugh, we laughed. It felt nice. It felt... real. A dream to stars. I awoke to the blue haze of moonlight dew, my eyes already worn out from sleeping and drowsiness almost overtaking me, but I stayed awake. I turned to my left and saw that it was 12:37. I turned back, letting the warmth of the pillow and covers envelop my all. It was a nice feeling, a very familiar, cozy feeling. But my body had other plans. "Move," it called. "Get up and move." And my eyes. "I want," they begged. "I want to see the stars." So I allowed it. Fine, I thought, but only to the first window light. Then back we go. The cold struck hard after I removed my warmth providers and landed on the carpet floor. Yes, even the carpet was cold for some reason. I moved my stiff, stumbly legs over, making sure not to wake the other ones who were sleeping in the beds next to mine, and moved down to the staircase. Honestly, though, I wish my body would make up its mind. If you wanted to move, why are you so stiff right now? You were moving fine like 3 hours ago, come on. I touched the windowsill. This one was halfway up the staircase. It was kind of cool. The staircase went up but had this flat section before continuing up. That was where the window was. It had an amazing view, too. You could see the entire forest, sky, and moonlight from there. The mountains in the distance, the silhouettes the owls made, the plains, a marvel of engineering that I still can't understand to this day. Oh, and the starry sky. It brings to you all the wonders of space free of charge. Big stars, bright stars, our sun, planets big and small, asteroids, comets, the moon. You name it, and you can see it all. I saw him, before I heard his polite stepping footsteps down the stair steps, so the steps he did step down, though he stepped lightly to not stir the populace by his stepping footsteps that are stepping down the stepcase. Okay, I'll stop. Only if you think carefully about your steps you will take when your footsteps tread on the stair stepcase as the steps will step. Yes, step, two-step. Jazz walked down the staircase to me. "Hey, Jazz," I eyed him and turned to greet him. "Couldn't sleep either?" "No," he smiled. "I kept thinking about where we are. Who would want to sleep after this?" "Yeah," I agreed, and turned back to the window and up at the stars. Who would, indeed? Nice job not waking Elizabeth up, he said, almost laughing. Elizabeth? I asked, then gasping, oh, right! I didn't even think of her. Because of Jazz's peppered persistence, Mom and Dad made an exception. Since there were 4 beds, they would both sleep in one, Jazz and Jace would sleep separately, and Elizabeth and I would sleep together. Weird, Jazz frowned. She'll be awakened by anything if you're not too careful. I'm surprised you didn't wake her. Yeah, I know. I rolled my eyes. All those times. All those squeaky toys. I shuddered. But then, a smile crept onto my face. I guess I'm just that good, I grinned. I don't need to even try to keep quiet. My hand to my face. I'm just a natural, I guess. Yeah, right, Space Girl. He smiled. Well, I said, dodging a swat from Jazz and looking back up at the window. Space is pretty quiet up there. Jazz shook his head. Silence came for a minute or two as we searched the cosmos together. Then Jazz looked down and frowned. How's your knee? He asked, looking at me up and down. Oh! I gasped again, looking straight down at my scab. I totally forgot about it. Maybe that's why you're so stiff. Well, it seems to be doing better, he surmised. You were bouncing all around when you fought Jay. Yeah, it didn't seem to hurt then. Now, though, it just feels uncomfortable. I looked up. I guess it's because I forgot about it? And shrugged. Pain is weird. And Jazz nodded his head in agreement. I still think it's crazy how you did all those stunts. Both you and Jay were inhuman. Straight inhuman. I laughed. I don't know if I like the word inhuman, but I'll take it as a compliment. Well, it just means you're extraordinary. You did something not every human can do. Yeah, I know. I just don't like being called, well, not human. It troubles me. Jazz made a face of concern, stepped forward, and put a hand on my shoulder. Human or not, you're a part of this family. Don't ever forget that. Huh? I let out a laugh. Oh, right. And looked away. But... No. He took my hand. You are. That won't change no matter what happens. I pulled my hand back when I noticed this. Sorry, it's the night. It just gets to me sometimes. I get all sad and... See? He smiled, a warm smile. You feel emotions. You feel sadness, happiness, anger, and so do we. That is just like us. You're human, Miranda. He grinned. I smiled back and rushed up to hug. Thank you, was all I could say. He embraced back. Don't worry about it. And even if you weren't human, let this be real too. I doubt it'd change anything. I'd still like you. Do you? I don't know. Called a voice up the staircase. We both stepped back and rolled around. I think you both are more like owls than human to me. It was Dad. Of course it's not Mom, I thought. She sleeps like a rock. It's late, guys. Get back to bed, alright? He tapped his foot, smiling. All right, Jazz said, trotting up the steps. I took one more look out the window into space. If I came from there, a place like that, I wondered, would they still accept me? I couldn't ponder this thought for long, though. You too, the one who has her head in the stars. I turned and glared at Dad, then went up the stairs as well. Well, aren't you one for sleep? Why don't you go back to sleep and leave us owls alone? Why don't you? I muttered. Dad cocked his head as I passed him. Care to say something? I smiled as I turned to look at him. Oh, you know, just the words from the cosmos. Yeah, he said, quickly giving up and getting his own self back to bed. As I got back into the covers, minding the sleeping Elizabeth, who seemed to be able to sleep through a hurricane now. Wish I had that ability. Jazz waved over from his bed. I smiled, waved back, and put my head on the pillow. I don't need to worry about space. I surmised, my mind. For I am part of this family. This won't change. Oh, what a blessing it was to be born into this one. No matter my quirks, they'll still keep me close. Come to think of it, I smiled. We're all a bit quirky now, aren't we? Elizabeth with her weird faces and laughs. Jay's and his odd name and retorts. Jazz with his unnoticeable curiosity and kindness that not many have. Dad and his, well, everything. And Mom. Well, Mom's pretty normal. That's pretty funny. Even still, we're a quirky family, and a family we will be. I knocked my head. Now, brain, stop thinking these thoughts. I am not going to have them ruin this trip for us. We have this whole place to explore for an entire year. And with this wonderful, loving family. Nothing can ruin this. No, nothing will ruin this. Not on my watch. And I'd bet not on the watches of anyone a part of this family either. And as I thought those wonderful thoughts, I went into a deep sleep. And as I went into a deep sleep, I finally woke up from this silly thought. Lost. Alone. Utterly lost. Completely alone. I'm alone. I'm completely alone. It's because of me. I'm responsible. If I weren't born, it wouldn't have happened. Then why did it? I don't know. I wasn't fast enough. Not strong enough. Careless. That's why it happened. That's why she... I shot up from my bed in a haze, a dreamlike state. My eyes were crusted up, tears watering down, yet I did not feel sad, scared, or any other kind of strong emotion. My hands were shaking, my head was wobbling, and my dark brownish-black hair covered my entire face like a mask, its curls also tickling my nose, making me feel like I'm going to sneeze. Nightmare, I thought. Expected as much. Shaking free from my hairy prison, I got up, navigated to my desk, sat in a chair, and tried to turn on my desk lamp. Nothing happened. Huh? I leaned over out of the chair I sat in and saw that the lamp was still plugged in. Electricity is gone? Already? I got up, went over to my window, and uncovered the blinds, blinding my eyes to the harsh, bright sunlight. He's going to come around soon. I went back to my desk and sat down in the chair, the old chair I moved into my room. Better get started, I guess. I picked up my pencil and made contact onto a thin sheet of paper. I hope this will help. No. To recall or not to recall? Ha. That is no question for me. Hey, it's Miranda. Oh, I'm really doing this. I don't even know to whom I'm writing this to. Probably myself. But nevertheless, I'm not in a... How shall you say this? Top condition? No, more like a stable condition. Specifically my mental state. And physical too, I guess. Since mental and physical are... I don't even know anymore. This is so stupid. I'm Miranda Gibbons. Gibbons. That's not my last name. But a name it is, alright. Names. A funny thing. It's a device to distinguish someone from another, to encourage individuality. Names can also be a way to target someone or hide your identity. Names' original intended use has been stripped away, replaced with a husk that looks nothing like the meat. Names. Miranda. Oh, a bit of rambling. Let's carry on. Shall we? No, that's stupid. Why would I? As I'm putting pencil to paper, making effortless strokes of black lines. I hope someone, the right someone, finds this manuscript so that maybe my experience, my story, my life will be read and portrayed by someone who can speak and actually be heard and listened to as well. Someone with a caring heart and good intent overall. Yeah, right. But before I tell you, whoever you might be, the raw meat of my story, you should know a little more about me. About Miranda Gibbons. No, not Miranda Gibbons. But we'll get to that later. Let's start at the beginning. Shall we?